The New England Patriots are in a very unique spot, honestly, uncharted territory, I think, for a lot of Patriots fans that were born after 2000. And that means that they have a top three pick. And so, Ryan and I, we are going to kind of break down the 2023 season. I'm very curious to hear Ryan's thoughts because he's the big Patriots fan here. Then, on the second half of the video, we're going to kind of just give a preview to what the offseason landscape looks like with estimated cap space, key free agents, team needs, and also like what to expect with some of their overall, some with their early draft picks overall. So before we do that, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified whenever we create new Patriots content. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of the postseason, so any help is much appreciated. Ryan, let's pull our slide up here. Patriots just let's talk about positives. How you guys had I would say in general top 10 defense overall is kind of shocking, considering the fact that Matt Judon went out and Christian Gonzalez went out early. And I think that to me still goes to show like Bill Belichick's got it on the defensive side, defensive minded side of the ball. I also think too, if you go and look at some of these games, especially in the second half of the season, you guys were in a majority of the games. Like you guys didn't really get blown out at all. I'm not going to count Week 18 against the Jets. That was also a crazy snowy game. But even going back then to you guys got blown out by the Saints randomly in Week 5. But other than that, you guys, it was close. Like it was really close for a majority of the games here. Largest margin of defeat was 14 points in Week 8 by the Miami Dolphins from that point going in. Unless if I'm missing a single game, 10-point loss to Kansas City Chiefs, but shoot, that 10 points you guys.
We had the 35-point loss to the Cowboys.
When was that?
Well, Week 4.
Oh, so that's what I said. So Week 5 was your last big blowout loss.
Oh, okay.
So I'm talking about the second half of the season, though. Like it was close. It was competitive. Belichick gave you guys opportunities. I feel to keep
it was competitive on paper. I mean, if you actually sat down and watched these games, like. We looked so bad against all of these teams. The fact that the Dolphins, I think, need the ball out to only put up 31 against us. The Steelers, we had 3. So we had a turnover that resulted in a touchdown. We had one good drive, and then we had a poor punt that resulted in a short field that we scored a touchdown on. After that, we did nothing in the second half. The Chiefs game, we got our behinds handed to us. They just literally could not catch the ball in that game. I understand they're one-score games, and they are close. If you actually watching these games and you go down at no point did I ever feel the Patriots had any shot to beat the Bills in Week 17. But that was a 27-21 game.
I know. I was trying to be positive. I was trying to have a
there's no room for positivity in this video. They suck. I think
what I was going for in all offensive, I think defensively, you guys had void of talent, and yet still were one of the top defenses in the league, even with all that.
Yeah.
Offensively, you guys suck. And so that's where I'm going to be very curious to kind of see what avenue you guys end up going with it, because it's the Patriots' way to trade back. But now, I mean, you're guaranteed top 3 quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, so here's my thing is I just don't think Bill Belichick will be there. I think it's going to be a new regime, especially after there were a lot of reports that came out that Bill Bellichek, after last season, Robert Kraft told him that he had to hire Bill O'Brien and move on from Matt Patricia and Joe Judge, the offensive coordinators from 2022. Bill Belichick wanted to stick with those guys for some reason. I don't know. But bring in Bill O'Brien. He didn't allow Bill O'Brien to install any of his own offensive staff, which would basically be like a CEO hiring your sales development representatives instead of letting the sales manager or the chief sales officer do any of that, which is just very strange. And then from there, apparently the mood around the building was that Bill just completely neglected the entire offensive side of the ball after that and just didn't help at all. And it's just been a very rocky road this season for a lot of the Patriots staff, specifically on the offensive side of the ball. And then people are very frustrated with the front office, again, not supplying proper offensive personnel. there as well, and so it's just been a mess
Mhm.
for New England, and you can really see it in their offensive stats. I mean, they were 28th in total passing yards, they were 26th in total rushing yards. This offensive line, uh, I don't know the numbers specifically, but they are definitely in at least the bottom half, if not the bottom 10 in pass protection and running. Uh, so the quarterbacks were constantly under pressure. Like I know everybody, Mac Jones probably is not the guy, especially not now, but like he never got a fair chance. Like it was just abysmal.
Oh no!
Uh,
If I'm Mac Jones, I would want out of that
oh,
organization
oh, for sure.
as a
I
whole.
think the Patriots won out from Mac Jones as well because again, I still just don't know how talented he would have been even if we had gotten him all of the right pieces. But I just think you look at what they gave him and it was like, all right, their big offseason signing was a receiver in Juju Smith-Schuster who was basically running on one leg, a 36-year-old left tackle who didn't even have the athleticism to play guard anymore. And then in the draft, they drafted their 3 first picks were all defense, and then they threw 3 fourth rounders at a center, 2 guards, tried to make one of those guards play tackle, and then the only other receiver additions were 2 6-round wide receivers, who, by the
Mhm.
way, one of which was your leading receiver because all of the other receivers were so bad that
Yeah.
he ended up being the guy that emerged. And I
What
do
happened
like
to Kayshon Boutte? Did he get
he
cut
never
this
really
year?
played. He never really played. He stayed on the roster the whole year. He was just inactive.
Oh, I
Um,
gotcha. So
but that was Demario Douglas. Let's move on now to kind of the off season things. So big notable free agents: Hunter Henry, Mike Gesicki, Trent Brown will not be back. He's actually the left tackle. There, that
oh,
was
sorry.
a no, that was a typo. And Kendrick Bourne tore his ACL. He actually is a guy I would be fine to re-sign, especially if you go out in the draft and get a guy with that second pick, like a Troy Franklin. Maybe try to trade up and get a Brian Thomas Jr. I think Kendrick Bourne would be a very nice compliment to that, and I think you throw that in the mix with Demario Douglas. Maybe you can bring back Hunter Henry. Kyle Duggar, Jalen Mills, and Josh Uche, all free agents. Duggar is the one I would be most interested in signing. And then one guy that's also not up here, Mike Nwinu, he is a free agent as well. He's their right guard / right tackle. Kind of does a little bit of both. I would like to see him back at right guard, and then maybe they could go and get a right tackle. But that's going to be hard to replace both tackles in the offseason because Trent Brown has been openly rebelling against the Patriots organization for a few weeks now. And kind of getting into the draft or like the offseason needs. One, they do have 75.9 million in cap, which I believe is third most, second or third most this offseason, which is really nice, especially you can go out and make a run at T. Higgins, Michael Pittman Jr., Marquise Brown, Calvin Ridley from the Jags, and do one of those routes, and then also try to look to add through the draft. But then tight end, there are no tight ends on the roster for next year. Zero, nothing. And then I think you look at the offensive line being how bad it was in where it ranked in the league this year. I mean, there are legitimate Patriots analysts that are saying we probably might pass on quarterback to take one of these left tackles because this offensive line has been so bad.
Yeah.
And then just get some defensive depth in there. Would be nice. They are pretty healthy on the defensive side of the ball, especially with the emergence of Alex Austin there. I think he's going to be the second or third boundary corner on the team next year, which was nice. He was a 6-round pick that Buffalo cut that we picked up, and he actually had an interception in the Buffalo game, and it has looked pretty decent actually throughout the end of the year. And so that's just good depth there. If there's one position that I think the Patriots consistently have locked down, that is corner. And I think they have 2 or 3 guys coming back next year that'll be ready to go and good quality starters. So they have a lot of work to do. I kind of want to throw it over to you and just kind of see what do you think. Like, what route do you think they go with in the first and second round? I mean, do you think they
Oh,
go tackle quarterback, try to trade up later, quarterback, tackle, quarterback, wide receiver.
Offense. I think that's what I think it's just offense. I threw defensive depth in there on the team needs. It's kind of like a courtesy, like, because they had some injuries. But in general, it's
Mhm.
like I think they need to re-sign these guys like Kel Duggar, Josh Uche, as well, and other guys that they feel fit. They have the cap space for it, and also can go and bring in some more guys. But I think it needs to be offense, offense, offense. I think you go if you don't think Mike Jones is the guy. I think it's almost kind of something similar to what the Bears are going through right now. Like you're guaranteed to have
Well,
one of these
Mac
three.
Jones is not the guy. At least not for
Sorry,
New England.
no. That's fair. Or at least Bailey Zappi. And be like, let's go and get this quarterback now, and let's put this QB question to rest for at least another 3 years until like that's what we thought Mac Jones was like that. But even Mac Jones, there was questions and doubts. But
Yeah.
then in that 34th pick, I think very similar to I feel like with where the Panthers are at. I think they're picking right behind the Panthers. I think there's going to be offensive line guys there that are going to be available. Tyler Guyton, I think, is a guy. Patrick Paul's the guy that you have right on the board. Who's the Arizona guy? Morgan? Is it Jake Morgan?
Jordan Morgan.
Jordan Morgan from Morgan to Morgan. Um, he, I think, could be a good option. Also, some good receiving options as well. Of like a name, Emeka Egbuka. I just like saying the name, but Emeka Egbuka, Xavier Leggett, Troy Franklin, a lot of these, A.D. Mitchell, Xavier Worthy, those guys, all those guys, I think, can range from high teens in the first round to then all the way going down into somewhere in the 50s, just because there's going to be so much volatility and certain teams are going to like guys. But they might get drafted for them, and like they don't like the next receiver, so they're going to go offensive line. That's what I think is going to be very interesting to see how the Patriots navigate that. And to me, I think it's so. I think you go QB. I think you go of your best player available between offensive line or receiver, and then 68. Best player available between offensive line or receiver, and I think include some tight end as well. And then also, I don't be afraid to double dip because, to be honest, it's I think in my mindset, I think it'd be good to solidify one area for sure. And even if that means you get two great receivers in the second and third round, but your offensive line is still struggling a little bit, I think you can work with that a little bit more than
That
if you like try and spread your eggs out. But I think you just go with best player available and offense every single time. Now, if Bill Belichick's there, will they do that? Probably not.
no.
But that's what I think they should do.
The thing that one of the things that was so frustrating this year was I actually thought at times this offensive line was playing well, but they just had nobody to threaten them on the outside, and they just could not do anything with the football because even if this offensive line got all their blocks correctly, there's 8 guys in the box. That's 5 on 8. That's not gonna help.
Yeah.
And like there was just nobody to like kind of take the top off the defense. That's what they drafted Taekwon for 2 drafts ago, and he's just been an absolute bust. Shocking the Patriots drafted a wide receiver that was a bust.
He was a second round receiver, right?
Yeah.
So
he was pick 50.
You made this trade in your mock draft, and I've kind of thought about it as well. It's like if you really think Bailey Zappi's serviceable, and if you think that you can go and get good offensive line pieces, good tackles in that second round, that early spot, Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be there. Like he's going to be there at the number 3 overall pick, and that would solve that problem immediately. So I honestly I don't think the Patriots. I mean, they can mess this pick up, and if they like trade back or whatnot, or draft a defender 3rd overall. But if they decide to go receiver, I would fully get it and understand it. If they went quarterback, I'd fully understand it and get it. So I
If
think
they
they're
were
in a very
tackle,
unique
I would get it. Like
yeah, if they went with Olu or Joe Alt, whichever one that they like the most, I would get it. I don't think I would hate any one of those picks. Now, if they took Jerson Newton 3rd overall, I'd be like, okay, I wouldn't like that pick at all.
I would be pissed.
I would laugh so hard. I would love to see. We will be live for the first round of the 2024 draft. I would love to see. Like we'll have to clip that and then like make its own video just to see your reaction.
Oh gosh, I would be so mad. So Yeah, all in all, just a really disappointing season for the Patriots. We actually had them going 10-7 and just missing out on the AFC wild card race in our preseason predictions. And boy, were we wrong. Uh, I will say I'm curious if that Eagles game goes differently in Week 1, because that was a really close game. Uh, how much that would have affected the mood of the season, and if that would have carried on. But they started out 1-5. And even I think you just take that Eagles game and you flip it. I think that there's a little bit more reason to fight in some of those early on games, because I think they just got off on the wrong foot early. And like that Saints game was close through a quarter and a half, and then Mac Jones threw a pick six, and then it was like it went pick six, Patriots went 3 and out, Saints went 4 plays, 75 yards for a touchdown, and all of a sudden it's a 2-score game, and then I think everybody quit. And like to me, I just really wonder like the mood of that locker room in the middle of the season, kind of towards the end of that Mac Jones stretch. And like you lost 2 games 10-6, or 3 games 10-6, 10-7, 6-0, all in a row. And like it is just like they were just, I think, mentally so exhausted of how bad this team was playing, considering the fact that they did have high expectations for themselves. So I don't know. We'll see. All in all, just a disappointing season for the Patriots. So let's go ahead and wrap this one up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on what you think of the Patriots 2023 season. Do you think they should fire Bill Belichick, bring him back for another year? Let us know down below. On that, we will see you guys next time.